welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Brian McKay, Systems Engineer here at Verify. I'll be your host for this session. Today, we will be discussing how to identify and analyze call events in Verify's Cube Analytics reporting. Here to guide us through it is my fellow engineer, Jim Schultens. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing great. How about you, Brian?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, dealing with some allergy attacks, so hopefully I won't be coughing everybody's ears during this. All right.
Mute button. Find it quick.
Right, exactly. Yep, finger on the mute button. Okay, so please note that these webinars are always recorded and posted on our website, so you can review them anytime. Check out the webinars page at verify.com for all of our past and upcoming sessions. Also, if you check the handouts tab, there are some report templates from today's topic that you can download and import into your instance of Verify. Actually, I don't think I set those for distribute yet. So I will do that as soon as Jim takes over and you'll be able to grab them then. So let's go ahead and continue here. First, we'll start off with a quick overview of what Verify can do for you. Then we'll jump into a live demo where Jim's going to walk us through Cube reporting and analytics. We'll pause for Q&A during the demo. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask them in the chat window. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you won. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution tool for Cisco, Zoom, and now Microsoft Teams collaboration. Deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution, we provide industry-leading call reporting and analytics, as well as customizable dashboards and widgets, UCCX reporting, remote phone control, change management, Cisco and Zoom call reporting, and our most recent addition, Microsoft Teams call reporting. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@verify.com or reach out to your account manager.
All right. So to get started, first of all, thank you for joining us today. As Brian did say, we're going to focus on Cube data today. Mainly going to focus, concentrate on dashboards and widgets section. Focusing on tracking carrier calls, drop calls, calls with other types of errors, which could result in bad customer experience for your customer. All right, in our knowledge base articles, we do have a section for Cube. We've got the setup and configuration article, Cube report templates. As with all our platforms, we do have some templates available to get you started in some analytic reporting on platform in question, in this case Cube. And then we've got a troubleshooting guide here. If you ever find yourself with an implemented Cube that's not sending data anymore, this is a great resource. I use it all the time. And it kind of goes through some troubleshooting tips and some way to get some data off of Flash, because sometimes that data just gets stored on Flash and doesn't get sent over when the problem is fixed. So we've got a way to package those files up and get them sent over. So I'm just going to go into this reporting templates and let that load up. Like I said, with each platform, we do have reporting templates here, and they're generally set up the same as far as what you get on here. You can click on a sample report to get an idea of what the report should look like. You've got a download button. These are available to download and import into your Verify system. It's going to download a zip file. You can extract that, and then you can pick and choose which ones you want to import in. I suggest doing them all. You may not use them all, but it's better to have them than not have them. So I'm not going to go through each one of these. These are we'll kind of touch on these with the widgets that I'm going to go over. And I did want to bring your attention to our webinars page. We've got a couple Cube webinars that we've done recently. And if I just go to search and type in Cube here, that'll bring up the Cube related webinars. Getting started, this was one Matt did, more similar to what I'm going to cover today, but more on the reporting side. Like I said, we're going to go into the dashboards and widgets, but this is a great resource for reports. He does touch on some of the widgets at the end of his presentation, but great resource. This one here, Cube Reporting Analytics, How to Isolate Calls. Great way to isolate calls to or from your Cube. If you're looking for specific calls, Victor did a great job. I refer to this one quite a bit. In fact, I just used it not too long ago to help with a trouble ticket I had. So great resources on our website. I'm going to go back to my lab, and we're going to go into these in a second. I did want to go into the call analytics reporting just to give you an idea if you're not familiar with our cube reporting. Head over to the reports just to show you. These are the templates that I did download into the lab here. I would suggest just a little tip. Take these templates, make a copy of them. This is the copy button. You can make a copy, then you can edit, modify them the way you need. Some of these will need modifications based on your platform and your settings. Some of them don't need any modifications, but you can always make changes if you need to. But making a copy of it maintains the template as what it should be as a template, and then your copy report can be run, can be scheduled. Lots of things you could do with those. So I'm going to head on back to the history screen. I like to spend a lot of time in here. That gives you a good idea of what the data is we're seeing from Cube, and how to build a report from there. So first off, I'm going to remove this, go to my favorite criteria, which is call scenario types. And in here, I'm just going to choose total calls. So I want to see all the calls for yesterday. I don't think I have any in the database for today yet, so we're going to focus on yesterday and go ahead and you'll notice this has sequence and events. You may not be familiar with that if you don't have Cube or one of our other cloud-based platforms. If you're just C2CM, you haven't seen that before, but I'll show you that in a second. So basically, this is what we get for the Cube. We've got these are the headers that I like to have for detail columns. You can always add or remove from there by clicking on Show Hide Columns. And you've got your different fields. You can add a whole bunch of things to choose from. Like I said, these are the ones I usually use for bringing up the data I want to look at. So you notice all these have a plus by them. Most Cube calls will have 2 events per sequence, and I can expand each one out individually, or I can expand them all out at one time. Like I said, most Cube calls will have an answer leg and an originate leg. And depending on the remote media address, we'll get into this in a little bit, is how that call is traversing your system. So we'll cover that in a couple widgets in a little bit. But this is basically the caller ID, the call number. So this is caller number, call number, and then you've got some other information and so forth. So not going to focus too much on this. I just want to bring your attention to that. What I do want to show you though is I'm going to pick on this remote media address, go back to my search, and we're going to change this up a little bit. And search on the remote media address, and they get in there. The results. So what you're going to notice, I did keep it on sequences. And when we get these results, you're going to see in here, notice this is what I searched for, but I'm showing this. But the reason behind that is, we said we've got 2 legs. So that was found here, and that's why it's displaying. If I go back and switch this over to events and view my results, it's just going to come back with what I actually searched for. So just the call leg or call event that I searched for. So just a little bit of a tip. Sometimes you freak out if you search for something and see something else in the data. It may just be because there's 2 events for that. It's hidden in there. So just wanted to cover that. And we're going to head back over to our dashboards and widgets section. This guy load up. And we're going to go through these each individually. So the first widget is a capacity widget. Great to be able to see what your max peak is for a certain time frame. This particular one, we are using an hour aggregate. So in the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hour, I had a max of 14 calls on this date, 19th, and a couple other ones here. Let's say that's too broad of a range. I want to more focus down on what was a better time frame or more accurate time frame than a whole hour. So what I can do is make a copy of this widget. And when I make a copy, since I've got all these widgets taking up space, it's going to put it at the bottom of the screen. Let's expand this out. And if I edit this, being a utilization concurrent call activity report, I do have a data aggregate interval here, and this is what the original widget was set for, 60 minutes. I can go down to all the way down to 10-minute increments, and just some other things. All we're looking for is total call count. Search set, I'm just focusing on one of my gateways or IP address, on a remote media address, so that's all I'm focusing on for this concurrency here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And that will allow us to see during those hours that I had the peak of 14 calls, which I can narrow it down more to the 11:40 to 11:50 time frame for that particular day. Notice these do have, I can click on these and remove them. So if I just want to focus on one day, I can just have that and get rid of these. Or I can have them all together. This is just for current week. We're only Wednesday, so I don't have any calls for today. That's why that's showing down the bottom. So great way to take one widget and make another one and kind of get more granular with which one to see. Delete this so we don't get confused later. And then here's what I was kind of mentioning before: cube calls in, cube calls out. You can kind of narrow down how many calls are coming into my cube from a specific remote media address. How many calls are going out on that media address? And this is just a statistics widget. We're going to edit that. And we're looking at, in our statistics, call count, average call duration, total call duration. Again, you can add or remove to that based on what you see here and what you're looking for in the type of widget. Our search set is answer for the call origin and the specific, in this case, just a range of media addresses. So my 14.115 range. So the cube is answering these calls. So the calls are, say this is my Verizon circuits or whatever it is. Call coming in on these and being answered by the cube. So these are calls that are coming into the cube. And then we've got calls going out. So I've got, we look at that search set. I've got the same IP address range here, but my origin is originate. So the cube is originating these calls out to this IP address. So that's a great way to be able to see calls coming into your cube, calls going out of your cube. You can further narrow this down. That call I was mentioning before, where I was working, they wanted to know how many calls were coming in on their 800 lines. How many people are dialing their 800 lines and coming into the queue. So we can add a call number and just put a specific number in here, or a group starts with 1-800 or 188. We can add multiple, and the call number is the DNIS, so you can focus on what they're dialing. Keep in mind, with Call Manager, we don't get that information in the call data. So the cube is a great way to be able to see what numbers people are dialing to get into your system. So those are these are mainly focused on completed calls. Now we're going to kind of switch gears and go to some calls that have trouble. This is abnormal termination. So what I'm doing here, let's go edit it. This is a grouping widget, and we're focusing in on disconnect cause code. And you'll notice if I click in here, there's a whole bunch of these. So instead of adding all of these, what we're doing, and this is the same in that report template that we have available, is we're saying these are the good ones. We don't care about these. So we're adding these, and if I just click on the is, it goes to is not. So is not user busy, is not no answer from user, is not normal call. These are good calls. I don't want to see these in my stats. So anything that's not these will show in that call count grouping. And you can see the primary grouping type is the disconnect cause code. So we've got network out of order and temporary failure leading the list. This is, I've got it ordered by number of total call count. So I want to focus on these top two here. So I can build another widget or another set of widgets and kind of focus on those. So network out of order. I can use that same disconnect code in my widget here, but I'm displaying it a little bit differently as a call distribution widget. And my primary grouping type is remote media address. Search I'm looking for is the network out of order disconnect cause code. So that tells me that what media addresses are having the most trouble here. And then I could take it one step further and I can break it down by hour. So which hour? Is it a particular hour in the day that I'm having a problem? This is a current week widget. So, is it always the 5 a.m. hour or is there a certain day that's having an issue, or the 10 a.m. hour? So with this, I can go further down, just edit this widget here, which is a call volume by time period. My time period in that widget was hour of day. Actually, before I edit that, I don't want to ruin that one, so I'm going to make a copy of this. Down. Should load up here. Then we're going to edit this guy so we don't touch our original one. And we're going to change this to either date or day of week. I'm just going to choose day of week just to show you what that's going to look like. It looks like Monday's my trouble day so far. Like I said, this is just current week, so we could have trouble later on, but this is more where I want to focus my troubleshooting at. So, from here you can go in the report section or that history page we were in earlier and kind of dive into what these trouble calls are, what's causing this. So a great way to kind of overall see, network out of order, which media address, which hour, and then which day of the week. So allows you to mix and match and get to where the trouble is so you can get that resolved. Same with temporary failure. I kind of did this one, and this one's broken down by peer ID, and that's what my grouping is. So grouping on peer ID and search set the disconnect cause code of temporary failure. And then again, I did break that one down, based on peer ID. Then I also did day of week. So on the 17th, I had the most trouble with that cause code. All right. We already covered this network out of order. So then next widget, this is a detail widget. If you want to see details, like I said earlier, if you want to go further with details and calls, personally, I like using the history screen better. The reason being the widget's quick look, and you're limited to 50 results. So with the history screen, it'll show all of them. Here, you're just limited to 50. So it depends on kind of what you're looking for. Personally, I like the history screen for details. This one, we're focusing on the internal error code as my search. Go through this briefly here. So internal error code, if there's an internal error code. So here I did starts with capital X is our wildcard. So if it starts with any character, normally on a normal call that's completed, it won't have anything in the internal error code field. But if it does, I want to know about it, and that's what I'm focusing on here. So that's what I'm seeing, and what you can do some further troubleshooting here. But, based on the dial period or the codec, do further troubleshooting to find out where the problem is. These last three widgets here are more kind of like the first ones, just not really trouble, but gives you an idea of your route plan summary, different remote media addresses, and how many total calls each one is handling. Give you an idea of where your traffic is in your cubes. And then if you're you want to see how many calls are coming into your CUCM from the cube, and say you're a hybrid environment, you also have MS Teams, you want to kind of give a quick comparison of how many calls are coming to your CUCM, how many calls come to your Teams environment, you can do that. And basically, I'm just focusing in on search sets here. This particular remote media address is coming into my CUCM, and origin H323 call origin is originate, so it's originating into this remote media address for my CUCM. The MS Teams, it's just using range of IP addresses. Yeah, 22. So anything that starts with 22 originating into my MS Teams environment. So keep in mind this is a lab, so it may not be accurate, but that's just gives you an idea of what you can do with these widgets. Quick glance and look at those. So one other thing I did want to quickly go into with this, I can do it on any widget. When creating these widgets, you can do it. As you can see, I was editing a lot of these going into the search set. And before I go there, configuration, we do have sequences, events you can choose here. But the search set, so you've got the option, use search set from the widget. So I can start, use this and create it, my own search set, or I can choose an existing cube report. So if I select this, I can pick one of my reports. If I've got a report already built that's basically doing the same thing in a report format, and I want to see it on a widget, easy way to do that without recreating the search set in the widget. Just use the cube report. And the advantage to that is if you make a change on the report, you don't have to worry about changing the widget. It's automatically going to get updated. So sometimes we see they make a change on the report and the report doesn't match the widget anymore because your widget is using the whole search set. So great way to keep things uniform between reports and widgets. And I believe that's all I had for today, Brian.
All right. All right. So that concludes today's webinar. There will not be one next week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll be taking that off for the holiday. And the following one will be on December 4th. And John and Vic are going to talk about what's new in Verify 16.4. So they're looking forward to that. There's a lot of patches and improvements coming. I'm not sure about new features, but if there are, they'll be mentioning those as well. So tune in for that, and we will see you all then. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all. Enjoy the holiday.